Well, good Monday morning to you, and welcome to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy. I'm Jim Tabor, along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox. We're all trying to stay dry this morning. Hopefully, you know, this. I mean, all this rain that we've needed, badly needed rain.
Oh,
definitely needed it.
So, and for you folks in Biloxi, where they still haven't finished all that construction over there, that in some areas they were reporting this morning that there are some streets that are like under 3 feet of water.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't hear
it
that.
was because of the construction going on.
That's not
really
good.
No.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll get all that mess
Cleared
straightened
up.
up here soon. But anyway, this is Open Line Monday.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes, the first Monday of December, and I know we're getting close to the holidays,
Oh,
so
yeah.
this is where we
Real.
basically invite you to call in. At, our phone lines are 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. And anything that's been on your mind regarding health, I know we got a lot of calls last week when we started talking about vitamin
Oh,
D.
yeah. D
Sure
got
did.
a lot of, well, D is such a big issue. I even, you know, there was more, every time you look at the research, when you look daily, I mean, there's actually a place we go to called Science Daily, and it'll actually tell research on health and medicine. There is always something on vitamin D coming out. I mean, it's like no matter what. I mean, the one I read this morning was just how if you were obese, you tend to have lower vitamin D levels. And it is important to supplement that D to actually help and change the diet, because even losing the weight tends to help the D come up. So speaking of D, there was another little
Another
tidbit
article,
about
right.
D. I mean,
Little
but
thing about
there's
that,
something,
yeah.
that's why when that study came out saying that, you know, D was not that, I mean, everything keeps showing that vitamin D is important. But a lot of your vitamins are. I mean, another thing that, you know, this morning, looking at the, you know, research that was coming out, they were talking about how, you know, unfortunately, scurvy is back on the rise in some
Really?
places.
Yeah,
and,
some parts of the
and
world.
you used to, in some parts of the world,
That's a term I haven't heard. You know,
you used to see it as
yeah.
a vitamin C deficiency. And it, a few years back, and it was probably more like 10 years, I remember reading where they said it was kind of sad that the only reason people in the United States were not vitamin C deficient was French fries.
French fries, yeah.
That
Potato has a little bit of
potatoes
C in
have
it.
some C, and that was the only thing keeping Americans from having scurvy. Now that's sad.
So
So
we'll
when
keep
you-
you from having scurvy, but we'll make you obese in the
Well,
time.
Exactly.
that's okay.
Exactly. We're
We'll
going
make
to
you
cause other
fat.
problems.
We'll make you
Which
fat.
choice
but-
do you have there?
Yeah, we'll make you fat, but you got plenty of vitamin C.
Well, what it was talking about was people cooking their food to death and destroying the vitamin C in it. And that's
Right.
one of the things that a lot of times really cooking and making stuff mush, especially your vegetables, actually destroy the nutrients. So people don't even think about that. So maybe, you know, keep your vegetables a little less cooked, and, you know, it does give you more nutrients that way.
Now, you know, we talk about all the time how it's always best to eat fresh vegetables.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't buy the stuff in the cans. And is there one preferred way over another as far as what's better when it comes to cooking vegetables? I know they tell you steam broccoli. You can
Right.
saute your vegetables if you
Right.
want to, or
Yeah, I mean,
or
it's-
buy fresh vegetables and, you know, and put them in a pot, and, you know, like green beans. I like with black-eyed peas, one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Put them in a pot and let them, you know, really cook good and long, 45 minutes to an
Yeah.
hour, with some bacon in there.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Well, the thing
and
is
do
with
that.
black-eyed peas, beans and peas have to be cooked. Now that is you
Yeah.
know, they're actually can have toxic elements when they're not cooked.
Really?
Yeah, so
Oh, phytic acid.
some things really should be cooked more and some things shouldn't. And then, you know, they like in tomatoes. They know that to get the lycopene out of a tomato, you have to cook it. So, you know, yes, cooking destroys some of the nutrients, but then in other cases it brings out some of the nutrients, but just not cooking it to mush. I guess that was the big thing, is you want to cook them, but don't cook them all the way to where there's nothing left in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
And probably when you steam broccoli, I steamed broccoli yesterday, probably what would be good for you, not that we do it, not that I do it, is in the steamer, the water that is in the bottom after you've steamed it,
That's
it's probably
actually
good to
where you
drink.
Really?
It'd probably
Yeah.
be really good to drink that. Not
Well,
that I
that's-
do it.
if you
but
ever notice, it's that.
Did you
it's-
try it?
it's green. No,
No.
but I mean, it's green. It's, you know, it obviously
Well, it
is
looks
part of
probably
the
looks like one of
nutrients.
those smoothie things that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or juicing things that people do a lot.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I thought about that yesterday when I was cooking. I was thinking, you know what, this would probably be really good to drink for you, not good drink.
It might
you know.
be something good to start like a soup stock
It
or something
might,
like
yeah.
that with.
Yeah,
You know, you could do that. Save it. And
Exactly,
Do that.
good vegetable soup or something.
Yeah.
Use that as part of your stock
Oh,
with your fresh
I
vegetables.
make all my own stock, and like I said, when I did chicken wings this weekend, but my
Yes.
chicken wings are a little bit different. I boil my chicken wings and then I bake them, and they are so good.
Yeah.
But I always keep the
I always
juice.
used to
That
bake-
is the best juice for making soup, which then I made chicken soup. with celery and carrots and
it
things
really
like
is
that.
good.
I used to, do
good
that.
soup.
I'd bake them in the oven. I'd bake my wings in the oven.
Yeah.
So anyway, Molly from Moss Point asks, the holiday season depresses her. What supplements or dietary changes can help with depression?
You know, I mean, if they're not already taking something like an antidepressant, one of the prescription antidepressants, Prozac and its family, you can do something like, and we see an awful lot of folks who have that seasonal affective
Depression.
disorder, they call it, or SAD, or mild depression. Something like 5-HTP or 5-XYZ, as he calls it. 5-HTP is great for the seasonal depression, and it's something that you can take. There's no problems with withdrawal after the season.
Right.
Once the days start getting a little bit longer.
You can actually stop it later and there's no problem. But one of the things it does is it increases serotonin. But that's one of the big things we recommend if you're not already on an antidepressant, because you can't take it with other antidepressants. Now, other things is even like SAMe is something that is also good for depression. And when the sun is out, get out in the sun. That is another thing you can do. Even bundle up. Don't wear sunglasses. That's the big thing that, sunlight in the eyes actually increases serotonin. That's why they use light boxes in some areas where they don't have sunlight. But we still have sunlight. Now it's going to get really cold, it looks like this week. But
really.
Otherwise, usually you can get out in the sun.
Another thing, too, is the probiotics. I mean, we know
probiotics.
about 90% of that serotonin is made in your gut, not in your brain. So, keeping that gut really healthy this time of year is extremely important. Probiotics, and it takes some big doses. We get people come in all the time and they've went to one of the big box stores and they've bought something that's got a couple of billion colony-forming units and of one or two strains. It takes a lot of different strains, and there's literally thousands of different strains of bacteria in our microbiome, which makes up our gut bacteria, and it takes minimum probably of 50 billion and up.
And even vitamin D has been shown to actually help with depression.
Omega-3 fish oil.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the foods you can eat is your fatty fish, because fish oil has definitely been shown to actually help depression. So eating salmon. And lowering that sugar, like we always say, get off the processed foods. That doesn't do anything for depression. If anything, it's going to make things worse. It's going to make you feel bad, and it's going to have lack of energy. And then if you have lack of energy, you're going to be more depressed.
Yeah.
So
and talking about salmon, be sure you get wild-caught salmon.
Wild-caught, exactly.
Yeah, if you go in there and it says on the sticker, farm-raised salmon, get away from it.
Right, because you don't know what they gave them
Well,
farm-raised
the Purina salmon chow, what else?
Yeah. Well, there's chemicals and antibiotics they put in the feed for farm-raised animals and fish.
Fish included.
So,
All right, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. It's Open Line Monday. Give us a call. And welcome back. Our phone lines are 896-0713, 800-349-0713. It's Open Line Monday, so whatever you want to talk about regarding your health, please feel free to call in. You don't have to be on the air. You can just pass the question along to our operator, and they'll pass the question along to us, or you can ask the doctors personally. I saw a thing again online today about one of the major problems, this time of the year is gaining weight.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the major things is our old friend sugar. And it's in everything, pretty much everything that I say everything, a lot of the stuff that we eat.
Well, it's in a lot of the stuff that you don't even think about it being in. And then it's, of course, all your holiday treats. It's in all of that, of course.
Well, that's all
all your pies and cookies and cakes. And, we tell people don't overdo it. If you do a little bit, don't overdo it.
Yeah, it's one piece of pumpkin pie will do, not the whole thing. But you're right. Sugar is the culprit. And the science has been coming out on this for a long time, and the evidence is just irrefutable. I mean, you look at it, and you see what's happening to us, or as Americans, and actually in the world. There's some of these third world countries now that we've been so nice and give them all this rice and corn. We're fattening them up like you would pigs or something.
Well, like the lady that called a while ago regarding this time of the year depression. I mean,
exactly.
Sugar.
Well, actually, this time of the year, though, is known for it. When the weather changes, the holidays themselves actually tend to make people depressed, especially they think about people they've lost. And so it is a hard time.
And the days are so much shorter, I mean, if you work from like 9 to 5, Well, let's face it, you know, you're not getting off and getting any sunshine in the evening.
Right.
So
By the time you get off work, it's dark.
it's dark 30.
I know,
you
when we are. When we get off, it's dark.
I think they should start letting us off at 4.
We need to have the
Let's
reverse of
change
daylight
everybody-
savings
yeah.
time. Right?
There you go.
We need to reverse it.
Change everybody's work schedule.
There you go. Let's work 8 to 4.
Yes.
And then you know, you come in earlier, a half hour earlier, go home an hour earlier.
Something like that.
That works a lot better for you. So, but yeah, there's things like that. I mean, just be thankful you don't live in Alaska where it's like
Oh,
dark
yeah.
so many
Yeah.
days. I mean, they
It's
have
definitely
like the
bad
highest
there.
suicide rate.
We deal
in
a
the
lot
country.
with some folks up there, you know, through mail order and so on.
Right.
And it is kind of amazing how much how much they're affected by it. You know, by the short days. I mean, they get short days. I mean, we're talking about like, okay, they just are dark. And it's, of course, in summertime, it's just the opposite. They get almost no darkness or, you know, no nighttime. But needless to say, this time of year, yeah, the further north you are, the worse it is. And of course, right now, you know, you see where there's big polar ice dump on them, everybody, you know, so yeah. You know,
It's not good. Well, let's talk about, you know, this time of the year too, kind of ailments that you might have. I mean, you have aches and
we do
pains
see
and things like that. And you see
weather-
more of that this
weather
time of the year. And
changes,
are there things
yeah.
that you can do to help, you know, relieve the aches and pains of that?
Well, you know, yeah, and one of the things is of course staying away from some of the inflammatory foods, sugar being one. Okay, I mean obviously that's one of the big pro-inflammatory foods. Eating more of the anti-inflammatory foods like those fatty fish, like for instance the omega-3s, you know, the fatty fish, you know, whether it's the salmon or it's whatever, and that's going to be much better for you as far as keeping down that inflammation. Watching, you know, there's a whole group of, I mean, you can go to Google, and everybody's got internet and Google nowadays. And just type in, you know, inflammatory foods, and you'll see some foods come up. You're like, oh, okay, that's something I eat every day or so. Okay, then stop that. Change your diet because that is very important.
And then we do have supplements. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of supplements that do help the inflammation and arthritis. We have
sure.
one called Pertamax that is really good. It takes a week or two to work, but it works. People that take it just can't believe the difference. And so the Pertamax is one as long as you're not allergic to shellfish. We have the curcuma veil, which is a really strong curcumin, which curcumins...
From your
man,
turmeric,
When
okay.
you start looking at it, anti-inflammatories, it's one of the big ones that they say is a really big one.
Yeah, one that my wife takes. Because
504?
504.
Well, it has the curcumins in
Yeah,
it.
that along with the
Yep.
bromelain,
It has, yeah.
because of you know, her constantly using her hands and everything between crocheting and making soaps and things like that where she works. I
And
mean,
it's got that. It's actually got a compound in it that comes from hops. You know, and normally you think of hops just for making beer, but actually hops has some other redeeming qualities. And one of them is there's a compound in it that they've actually got a patent on the process now to get it and so on. It's called perluxin. That's one of the big things there, and it helps with pain. And
it's fast acting for pain.
very fast.
And so it's kind of like your natural anti-inflammatories instead of maybe ibuprofen.
Right.
So it's something that, you know, it doesn't hurt your stomach. It also has ginger in it, the phytophthora. It has your
Right.
ginger, your boswellia, the perluxin. It has the curcumins, and so in it you can take as needed, which is what a lot of people like.
Doesn't bromelain have like pineapple extract
from
or something?
well, that is
it's from
pineapple.
That is from
Yeah,
pineapple.
it's an enzyme from pineapple. So it's an enzyme in pineapple that actually, when you take it on an empty stomach, it eats up inflammation, which is always good.
Well, it's Open Line Monday, so please give us a call about any health-related topic that you may have in mind that you know, maybe we've talked about over the past or something we haven't talked about. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713, and give you a heads up. After the holidays, we're going to talk about how to lose that weight.
Yeah,
that
it's
you
going
gained.
to be a big thing. Is
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of the holiday weight.
Try to keep it down right now. That's the best thing, is don't gain it in the first place.
Exactly.
So start watching, you know, watching what you eat. You know, don't go and eat everything. Just because it's the holidays does not mean it just gives you free grazing rights on everything. And that's what everybody thinks. Well, I'm going to eat all that I want right now, and I'll lose it after the new year. That's what we hear constantly from people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Usually
it's
doesn't
not
happen.
that easy to lose. It's a lot easier to gain. A lot easier to gain.
Energy this time of the year, you know, because you're running around all the time. You know, I know someone that had been on this one of these energy boost diet things called Zantrek. And I mean, it was it's like full of caffeine.
Well, see, we don't-
And what they didn't
yeah.
like was the caffeine thing. And I think you put them on Phytozone. Was that?
Yep.
Or,
Yeah, I mean, if Phytozone it's just it's a combination of some herbs that do help kind of balance out especially the adrenals, because the adrenals kind of get overused this time of year.
Yes, yes.
Stress and so on. And so it just kind of helps, change that around. And that's something that's pretty good as long as somebody doesn't have any kind of problems with hypertension, those kind of things, that's works out for it well.
We also have a formula, I just thought about it, and would even be helpful for the person that asked about depression this time of the year, but it's called Daily Stress Formula. And so it does have your B vitamins in it, but at the same time, it has some of the herbals in it that actually just helps you adapt to stress better.
Very similar to Phytazone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little different than Phytazone. It is okay to take if you have high blood pressure.
Right.
I wouldn't take Phytazone, or we have something a little stronger called ADR. Would not take that if you had high blood pressure, but you can take the Daily Stress Formula. So that's actually another one that works really good.
And we have a lot of people that really like that because it does help you adapt to stress. And let's face it, we live in a stressful world. Especially if you watch the news and things like that.
Try not to.
Try not to, but
and
just in case.
We also have a product called Energy Extra.
That one's real. I mean, a lot of folks.
Really good too. Now again, it does have some of your ginsengs in it, which you can't take with high blood pressure.
Normally,
but it's one that we have a lot of people that they can tell pretty quick difference, and that's one that you don't have to take for a month to see a difference. Some things in natural medicine is a little different. Sometimes you have to take things a while to see a difference. Some things are pretty fast acting, like that Phyto-4 is fast acting for pain. Just like the Energy Extra is fast acting for energy, and so there's Phytazone. So it's just, there's different things, and I always tell people, some things take longer to work, some things don't.
All right, we'll be right back with this week's special and more of your phone calls. And welcome back. It's our final segment this morning. Before we get to our weekly special, we've got a couple of calls on the line. Betty from Gulfport, you got a question for the doctors? Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. I have been to a joint specialist, and he told me I had rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
And not only do I have rheumatoid arthritis in my leg, I have it in my head, too.
Okay.
Because I used to thought, why is my head hurting? And I found out if I cover my head real good, it didn't hurt as bad. So I am concerned about the medication they want to give me because of my stomach.
Okay.
I want something that is not going to be attacking my intestines from inside.
Right, something that's not
basically, this is what they're talking about giving me. I can't stay on the medicine forever. So they said, well, you either have to take the medicine or suffer. And I have suffered, and we haven't even gotten into winter here yet.
Right. Now, we have a lot of different things that we use for rheumatoid arthritis. We have a lot of people that come in with rheumatoid arthritis and with the natural approach to rheumatoid. Rheumatoid is systemic, so it is actually can go anywhere in the body. So like you said, it's not just in one joint. It's probably all over. Now, the Pernimax that I mentioned for arthritis has had some research at Clemson University for rheumatoid specific.
Specifically.
So it even shows that it downregulates the immune system, so it's good for both types of arthritis, osteo and rheumatoid. We have something called DHEA. There's been a lot of research on DHEA, and DHEA decreases as you age, and replacing it tends to help the response to inflammation. So that's another thing that you can do.
You would want to check that first.
Yeah, you'd want to check the DHEA first.
Verify it, but
and
we
then
do that.
we use stuff like a lot of rheumatoid they think is an underlying fungal, viral, bacteria. There's a lot of research right now going on in medicine, especially in Colorado, about that. And so we use something called Olivir, which is a antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, and we get good results with that. So there's tons of things that we have for rheumatoid. We always try to tailor it to the person individually. So the best thing to do is to come in. If you have any recent lab work, bring it, and we may need to do some more lab work to see what's best for you. But getting all those things fixed will actually help with the rheumatoid in general.
Sure will.
Yep.
All right, Betty. Thank you so much for your call.
Betty.
896-0713, 800-349-0713. We still have time for a few calls. So what's the special for the week?
Oh, okay, the special for this week. Well, this time of year, everybody, we talked about scurvy. Okay, you need some vitamin C. Liposomal C, and the reason we do that one, because it's so absorbable. Regular vitamin C, pills, powders, tablets, capsules, doesn't matter, runs about 15 to 19% absorption rate. This stuff runs between 90 to 93%
Right.
absorption
So it's almost
rate.
like IV and vitamin C. So
Yes.
it's good for people that bruise. It's good for people that
Oh,
get
yeah.
sick a lot. It's good for people just for collagen. So to help your skin and the wrinkles, actually.
Yes.
So liposomal C
So
is just
people
one
that
that can be.
bruise easily, is that because there's a lack of vitamin C in their
Yeah.
A lot
system?
of times it can be low C and a lack of collagen, and collagen breakdown actually is one of the reasons you'll bruise. And the vascular fragility, which it means your vessels are easily broken when you bump into them.
And the other thing is that memory core, and you know, it's one of our memory specialty formulas that we put together specifically for memory. Works really well, and let's face it, everybody needs it.
Yeah, I was saying that's the only people that can't take the memory core. It does have ginkgo biloba in it,
Yes.
which does thin the blood. So if you're on blood thinners, you got to be careful with that one.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, like I said, liposomal C can pretty much be taken with
Anybody.
anything. That
Kids,
was, kids, you give it to little kids.
8 to 80, you know,
Yeah.
just
Really?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kids, we
Yeah,
got kids
because you
that
see
take
people,
it.
I mean kids, I mean I see adults that it's always like, how'd you get that bruise? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's usually from something like that breakdown, that vascular fragility.
We've even
those
had the
kind of
people
things.
that come in that are on the Coumadin, which is a really strong blood thinner, and the whole arm is bruised. And that liposomal,
Wow.
and they're already taking vitamin C, and regular vitamin C don't seem to help, but that liposomal C will help clear all that up.
Help heal it up.
All right. Barbara from Gulfport's on the phone with a question. Good morning, Barbara. What's your question for the doctors?
Good morning.
Morning.
I have the inflammable rheumatoid arthritis. It's afflicted my whole body.
It can.
But I have a question about my knees
Okay.
that are fixed in place. I can't straighten my legs to walk normal.
Okay.
And is there anything for the to release my legs? They're like
You know,
my knees are
Yeah.
frozen in place.
yeah, Barbara, you'd have to see an imaging study like X-ray, CT scan, something like that to really see what's going on in those knees. You know, it depends on how far gone they are.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
joints can get to a point to where they're ankylosed
Yes.
together. And unfortunately, there is nothing you can take orally at that point to help, if that's the case. Now, you know, we don't know
We
for
don't know.
sure because we haven't seen your images, but like he said, you have to see x-rays and things like that to know for sure about that one, because it can get to the point with rheumatoid arthritis where it actually eats the joint completely up. And unfortunately, I mean, that is not an easy fix just to take something orally.
Certainly is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caller asks if you have anything for shingles.
Yes, and that is something this time of the year we do see a lot of. We
Really?
haven't mentioned that,
Yeah.
but stress actually tends to trigger shingles. And we use two things always for shingles, and there's a couple extra things you can do also. But the Olivir, which I mentioned, which is an antiviral, we do a high dose of Olivir and a high dose of L-lysine. And lysine inhibits the replication of any of the herpes viruses, which shingles is one of the herpes viruses. It's herpes zoster. So those two things for sure. And then usually something to boost the immune system. Because usually if that happens, when people get shingles, it means they were compromised in some way. Whether it's the stress has lowered the immune system, they're run down, they're not getting enough sleep. All that can be a factor, and boosting the immune system can help. But I always use the first two first, and if they want even something extra, we use like the arabinogalactin, the DMG. There's a lot of things we have for the immune system.
But that usually just the Olivir or olive leaf extract and the lysine can work.
And shingles
wonders.
is no fun,
Very painful.
and it
Yeah.
hurts.
Well, you see the commercials on TV
Right.
with a guy
Very
that's got,
painful.
you know, it can get in your, you know, up on your face.
It can get in your eye.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
shingles can be really bad.
yes,
So
yeah.
if you feel it coming on, like a pain that feels like nerve pain, and you're not really sure what it is, start something then. Don't wait until it gets
don't
full
let
on.
it get you.
Yeah, don't let it get you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your calls this morning. What are we talking about next week?
Well, we're going to be talking about iron. You know,
Yeah,
having
we talked about, we
too
haven't,
little or
I
too
said,
much.
I don't think we have a whole show yet on iron. And
No, I don't think so. We've been doing
see
this for
so
over 2
much
years now, so I
iron
don't think we've had
overload.
anything
We're
on
not just
iron.
going to be talking about iron deficiency. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about, so many people say they can't take iron because it hurts their stomach. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what you can do if you have too much iron, which is very common in men.
very.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today on our live show. Of course, the doctors will be in after 10 o'clock this morning until 5:30 this afternoon. They're there Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and Dr. Bull is there
Monday
every
through
day.
Friday.
Every day. Every day. So, and you don't have to have an appointment, and there's no charge for a consultation. So
That's
you can stop
right.
by and see them at their office located on Callan Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road.